Believe I actually own a Stetson hat. I have no idea where I got this from, but it just reminds me of Dumb and Dumber when Harry is standing up on the, watching Lloyd in the Lamborghini dropping off his so-called girlfriend. It's totally this hat. Alright, you're going to love this. I have one major problem whenever we have hardware like this. We got this Keaton seed firmers. They're great. They work really good. I've used them in the past. But one thing I absolutely hate is the fact when they send you a stainless steel clamp, on the stainless steel clamp they give you a spring steel screw. And what happens when you add fertilizer to mild spring steel? It rots. Plastic doesn't rot. The stainless steel doesn't rot. But the screw in the middle rots. And then you can't take it off. Can't adjust it, can't do anything. Oh, the joy. I guess it's planned obsolescence. But anyway, I am going to be taking the meter system off. I know there's a lot of people that don't like that idea, but that's just too fucking bad. I'm sorry. I'm not going to use it. I don't need to. If you maintain your planter, yes, things do go wrong. You maintain your planter. Get off the tractor every once in a while. This is only a 4.5 to 5 mile an hour corn planter anyway. So get off, go back, check your rows, get back on the tractor, and go again. Every 4 or 5 passes, and you don't even have to do it that often. But for the most part, new chains and drives all across it. Yeah, you may have a problem. But for the cost of that monitor for 200 acres, it ain't worth it. And you can get away with a lot when you're planting corn. Maintenance you can't get away from, but you can get away without having meters. I planted for a lot of years. What's this thing called? Select.com. So yeah, these meters, they actually, I'm going to save them and I will show you how to disable the hole so that you don't have any problems inside. See, this is how I'm going to put them on, because they obviously have problems with the stainless steel doodad then too, and there's a screw that's missing here. So I'm going to have to come up with one for that, and which isn't very difficult. You just go to the hardware store, even though the hardware store is probably closed down right now because of the dreaded malady. Yes, the dreaded malady. I love that one. It sure beats the coronavirus, but the dreaded malady. So, yeah. And this, look at this. You think seed is going to pass through that? Man, this looks like a crooked dick in a bad porn show. I swear to God. Anyway, off we go. Alright. So I'm sure there's a fair few of you farmers out there that are saying, he's a fool, he's cutting this stuff all off. He's going to have missed rows and stuff like that. I'm planting between 200 and 300 acres of corn. 300 acres. Now, if I was planting like 3,000 acres, I definitely, probably, don't tell me that ain't coming off yet. It's coming. Okay. If I was planting like 2,000 to 3,000 acres, I probably wouldn't have bought this particular corn planter. I would have bought something a little more like a Maxi Merge 2 to rebuild. And it's done the same stuff, but yeah. I don't know. I may leave see, the problem with these seed. See, that's the thing. See, there's an eye in here. When I said I needed a timing light, this sends this thing has a light, and when it breaks the beam, that's when it says that one fell. So a timing light on the meters, when you're checking the meters, I've seen them do it. They put it on the bench and they run it, and there is a light that shines on the seed and says, hey, this meter is working. It counts the seeds coming out of it. So I'm not pulling your legs, guys. I'm telling you the truth. So this is another thing that just annoys the piss out of me. These guys used electrical tape, duct tape, whatever kind of tape they could find to actually hook these Keaton seed firmers up. I thought that was just amazing. I mean, there's other connectors you can use, but I guess electrical tape will work. I'm pretty much electing to totally do away with this stuff. Here's one. Here's something somebody did. I thought that was pretty ingenious. They used a heat shrink on this. Right here. Look at that. They use heat shrink. And the problem with the heat shrink... No, that's not heat shrink. That's actually connection tube. Alright, well that's the proper thing, but it wore a hole into it. And it's probably leaking down the side of the damn... Who's it? Yeah, the who's it. Alright, there we go. It's a John Deere seed tube. See, look at this. I mean, look. You tell me I'm going to be able to get that out of there? There is no way I'm going to get that out of there. It's a waste of my time. So cut it off. Now the seed firmers, these seed firmers are really in decent shape. I mean, if you look at them, they're not even, they're pretty good. Not worn out, not worn down. This one actually has a spray tip on it, where most of them just shoot it directly onto the seed. Interesting. I'm going to pull them off. I'm taking all of this. I'm going to leave the tanks on, but I'm going to take that manifold off, and I'm going to set that to the side because I'm not going to use any liquid on this. I thought about it. I thought, you know, I ain't got that kind of time. It's I'm going to have all my fertilizer put on the ground when I work it in. We'll get down and dirty with this seed metering. Oh, okay. All right, here we go. Oh, there's a little pigtail with the sensors on it. All right, so the other day I said it takes a timing light to check your meters. Well, Kinsey has a stand, John Deere has a stand, and Precision Planting has a stand, and I'm sure all other manufacturers have a stand where they test your meters. Okay, so there's a computer, and you put your meter on the thing, you screw it down or whatever, you fasten it in, they probably got quick clamps on it or something, and then they run seed through your meter. And they have to detect the seed that's going out of the meter and down the tube, its spacing, and you really want your meters to run somewhere about 97 to 99% efficient, or with 97 to 99% singulation. No doubles, no skips. That's what you need. And in order to do that, there is a strobe light system within your seed tube, or within that seed meter stand. So in your corn planter, there is a very similar little thing, and they do get dirty, but right here there are lights. These are lights, or strobe lights, or lasers, or whatever the hell you want to call them. I haven't plugged them in yet. And then you have this mirror or pickup system right here. So when a seed falls down the tube, it breaks the light in some form or another, casting a shadow, causing this to work, to send a signal up to your monitor in the CAD or on the meter stand, indicating a dropped seed. So this would be your, in layman's terms, timing light. Okay, so if you misunderstood what I was saying, or you can't think outside the box, I just had to show you that this is basically a timing light that detects seed. It's pretty much probably a laser light of some sort. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to plug it into a power source and see what happens. I mean, if a light comes on, I'll be able to show you. But it's a sensor, essentially, and they test the meters on a stand with that. Now you could do this yourself. I mean, you could set this up with your drill and turn it very slowly and run the monitor if you've got one. I don't have a monitor, and I'm not going to buy a monitor. I'm removing these. I think that my singulation should be pretty good because we're completely rebuilt on those meters. If not, well, that's my own stupid fault, and I get to either pay more for seed or have skips. One or the other. One or the other. So I'm changing out the springs here, and I've got, this is a snap ring, goes on here, and it just clamps. It's a very heavy duty snap ring, but it just clamps onto the housing here. So I got that off, and I pulled the old roller off, and I noticed that. So yeah, I hope there's not too many like that, but I don't think it's gonna matter too god awful much. But I'm gonna change it. I do have. What do I need them for?
Yeah, I mean they do match.
Well, they are for this. Yes, I have a whole bunch of them.
I think we're past. Oh, you got a whole bunch more.
Yep. Okay, so you just take that guy there. This is the old one versus the new one. You can see the difference. Drop that sucker on the ground for the clean. We have a cleaning crew that's coming in now. They're cleaning up so I don't have to. So I'm allowed to make a mess. It's called those guys over there that are making all the noise.
We're working here.
Yeah, the cleanup crew. I make a mess, you clean it up, right?
That's about right.
That's right. They get paid to do it. See, when I was young, I was the cleanup crew.
Kind of like a rite of passage.
Right. Well, I didn't do such a good job. No, I hated the job.
He's complimenting us.
Okay.
Alright, he's out of order.
So you put this thing on, it pulls forward. So you put the new spring on. You don't have to put new springs on, it's just good practice. Oh yeah. Very good. Put the new roller on there. I'm missing my damn. There it is. So this is the old ones, pretty well completely gone. It'll be down to the bushing any within a couple hundred acres. So it's time to replace it. And of course, I couldn't find my nut, but I knew where it was. Sounds like a personal problem, but not really. That's why I have Teresa. She helps me find my nuts sometimes. There it is. So there you go. Oh, there's two of them in there. That's something. Wonder who left that in there. Garant.
What?
That's right.
Would you leave a nut in the gun?
Yeah.
Ah! Last time I touched the gun,
Okay, so that's it.
handed it to you.
So I'm just replacing these. I'll do a start to finish right now, so you can see that process. Let's make sure we can get the whole thing there. I'm snapping them snap ring pliers. I take my screwdriver here. I'm gonna throw it there. I'll show you what that's for in a second.
That's not even the bearing, that's just in the thing.
All this Kentucky dirt there. Again, there's probably nothing wrong with this spring. It is a John Deere spring, but just because of the condition of the rest of this thing, I'm going to change it. Again, there it is, just totally roached out. Now, screwdriver. Because of all the oil that they put on the change, it has collected the dirt all around everything, which causes excessive wear. It really does. Now you take the screwdriver and you get that thing underneath there, like so, and you pry that up, because the snap ring pliers, the holes are so plugged up that the snap ring pliers won't go in the hole, so you got to clean them out. And I don't have a picker with me, but I do have the snap ring pliers. You clean out those holes, grab a hold of it, spread it, gently spread it, then you've got it with the snap ring pliers, and then you can discover all the lovely, see, that's what happens when they wear. They did it on this one as well. So, and I'll take this thing here and I'll clean off the excess oil and dirt that has packed its way in there. Take the screwdriver and go ahead and skin off it's like tar. Skin that off of there. There you go. This old planter. That's actually a pretty decent name for this job. Put that on, flash. Boink. Lunch just showed up. Woohoo! Crazy D. Edwards. He says, I thought Carl quit working for you, OLF. Well, he did. He did. He's not there. He's not around. Nope. Sorry. Tuba 7084. What are you planning on using for plant population there? We planted 34, 36,000, depending on the variety. Just curious what the norm is in your area. We farm in Iowa. Really enjoy the rebuilds that you do. Thanks. Well, the last time I planted on wide rows was I actually had that population up pretty high to prevent the deer from crossing the rows because I was running 38-inch rows, not 30s. So we were 32,500 plants to the acre population. At least that was what my book told me I was planting. Now, I would continue to do 32,500, but I'm thinking I'm going to 34, 32 to 34,000, depending on the... B.D. Meredith, I have to ask, how much do you have in that thing now, and how much till you finish? Okay, so 3,200 for the corn planter itself, and I am right around 7,000. Probably going to have to put a few, maybe I'm going to leave another $1,000 out there to go into bits and pieces that I may or may not have seen problems with. But what I'm looking at, and my budget was $10,000 on this corn planter from start to finish. I started last year, and I'll finish, obviously it'll get finished here pretty soon. So $10,000 is what my budget is. If I goes a little over or a little under, I am okay with that. Brent MacArthur. I know you have probably said this before, but how did you meet your great wife? And keep the great videos going. I don't farm, but still enjoy the content you put out. I met my wife at the little store in where she worked. She worked right up the road here, and I used to go in and get a cup of coffee. And I have said this story before, but it never gets old telling it because it has been quite an interesting road to from start to finish. But yes, and I knew the moment that I saw her that I was in trouble. And that's just the God's honest truth. I knew it. I just knew it. Christian C. Most Kentucky farmers strongly believe that grease is optional. I can vouch for that. Well, proof's in the pudding, man. There is not much grease on this thing. But they did oil the chains enough to get the dirt built up on the sprockets that you couldn't even tell they had teeth. Jay, where's all that equipment you were buying? Question mark. Big old liar and dreamer. Unbelievable. Anyway, there's this thing, it's going around. It's called COVID-19. And I can't meet with the lender. They have shut down the office. And I don't have a big old pile of cash in the back room that I could just go crack off, $300,000. Out from under my mattress to go buy this equipment. So when things calm down a little bit, I will be in a hurry to purchase this equipment, but I'm pretty sure would be okay. Hoodwinked by an Angel, Michael Fazio writes, I would weld them holes closed and re-drill them. Problem solved. Well, it's cast iron, and it would be a bit of a pain in the ass to do that. So what I'm going to do is preheat and then weld nickel on the slots where they're worn because there's plenty of meat in the middle because the hook is round. So that's what I'm going to do. I've thought about the drill a new holes part, and it would be okay, but pretty time consuming. Mr. Bill writes, unfortunately, Shoop quality has gone to shit the last few years. I predict the bearings will be out of those openers well before the blades are shot. Don't shim them any tighter than needed. Well, shimming them tighter than needed is what will cause the bearings to go out, but these are the United States-made ones, not the Chinese-made ones. So there's two qualities of openers, the Chinese and the USA. I chose the USA, but we will see. I will let you know. Sam Lay, I'm surprised after stripping the planter why it didn't get a fresh coat of paint. Well, paint is cosmetic. It won't cause this planter to do any better or any worse of a job than it will with or without the new paint. So I'd rather go to the field with a rusty old shitty looking piece of equipment and have a good stand than have a nice shiny brand new looking machine and the job is shitty. I mean, if you go to the field and it doesn't work right, you get the, oh, that figures. He planted that with a piece of shit, you know? Or, wow, he planted that with a really nice planter and what a shitty job it did. Catch my drift? John Bathgate, what happened to fabricating a new better than you can buy hay rake? Question mark. Surprised you haven't yet tried to build a 40-foot stalk shredder. I'm not going to build a 40-foot stalk shredder. I have two 20s and they work just fine. And as far as the hay rake is concerned, time constrictions. When I'm done with the corn planter and I'm done with the fertilizer spreader, if I have time, we will be working on the new hay rake. S. Purcell. Wesley, could you please explain why the corn seeds that farmers plant are different colors? I've seen corn being planted that the seeds are coated with green, orange, and purple. What is the reasoning behind this, if any? Well, it's all in the treatment. Some use one brand of treatment, some use another brand of treatment, i.e. different colors. And back in the early 2000s, they even had that green, there was a green colored seed that was called IntelliCoat, which was this polymer that they would put on the seed that would only break down when the soil hit 55 degrees for 5 days, I believe. 5 consecutive days, allowing you to plant that corn 2 weeks in advance before any moisture would get to that seed and trigger it to grow. I planted it. I didn't notice a difference.